Okay, here is the Mezco 112 Collective Gladiator Hulk out of the package with its accessories next to the Hasbro Marvel Legends Gladiator Hulk Build-A-Figure. Two awesome figures, two very different figures. I don't think it's fair to compare Legends with Mezco or any of the higher end figures, even Legends with SH Figuarts. I don't think it's fair because we're talking complete different classes of figures where you have a normal line versus a high end import, which is a premium figure. That's running at low end $60 for a SHF. Legends $20. Mezco $80 high end, or in this case the Gladiator Hulk $125. It's just not fair to compare, and I don't think it's there. But we are going to look at it also, and it's just one of those things where we just want to look at kind of the differences and kind of what's going on. But it is not a fair comparison, even with a Build-A-Figure versus a high-end premium figure. It's still not fair to compare, but we'll go ahead and go through it anyway. So you can see he also has the axe, the hammer, an interchangeable unhelmeted head, which is awesome. It is a fantastic head sculpt. That one, compared to the Hasbro Marvel Legends one, that one looks like crap, but when standard figure versus premium figure, that's kind of what you're going to get. The interchangeable hands, so there's 3 sets of hands, the 2 fists that he comes with, and then he has open hands, and he also has the holding hands for the weapons. So let's kind of get in a close look at these accessories, then we'll take a close look at the figure, and then we'll check out the comparisons between the two, just to see. Okay, here are the accessories. So here first we have the axe, and you can see that the axe is pretty awesome. It kind of has a matted finish to it, so it's not real smooth. It's a little rough, so I kind of like how they did that. They have some nice details with some scratches throughout, and then that kind of beaded look on the handle part itself that he would hold, and it's got kind of an orange rusty paint app to it. So I really like the way that look. It looks a lot more realistic than the Marvel Legends one. As you can see here, the Marvel Legends one, it's still very smooth and shiny looking, even with the rust. Now at the time, I thought this was fantastic, but seeing it to this, you could really see what a difference can make, when it's a higher end quality. But the sculpts are both very good, very nice. And for Hasbro's attempt, I think they did do a solid job. So not too shabby, but yeah, looks good. Here on the Warhammer, or whatever I guess it's called, it looks very good. It is smaller than the Legends version, but just like with the axe, the details and the paint apps are there to make it look much more realistic. It is done with a hollow plastic. I don't think it feels a little bit stronger than the Marvel Legends one, whereas over time the weight of the handle couldn't support, and it was very bendy. This one doesn't have that issue so much. You want to be careful because I just kind of heard it crack a little bit, so be careful there. Here we have the unmasked head, which actually looks like the Hulk from the movie. So I actually see a little bit of Mark Ruffalo in there, and how Hulk looked for the Thor Ragnarok movie. So I think they did a great job there. Now, one thing that's a little bit odd, and I don't think it's completely accurate, and I could be wrong, the war paint that's on his face and his chest and his arm is done in a silver paint, whereas the Legends is done in white, and I thought it was white in the movie, but maybe I'm wrong. So that's just kind of interesting, but the sculpt itself does look very good. As far as the hands, these are the 2 right hands. You can see there's a nice wash over kind of the leathery straps that wrap around his hand. Nice metal black dark wash over the I guess the gauntlet or whatever he's wearing, the hand guard, the armor. Anyway, looks really good on both figures, on both pieces. And then here we just have the left hands. Now these ones have a blue strap wrapped around, and then the Legends one used a purple color, but this Mezco figure uses a blue. So I'm actually going to go back and look at video from the movie to see which one is more accurate. But there are the accessories looking very good. I just had to zoom in on that head sculpt. That head sculpt looks fantastic. and I think Mezco did a fantastic job with this head sculpt. Okay, so back to the Hulk figure. So real quick, show you some size comparisons because the Legends one is actually a lot bigger, whereas Mezco tend to usually be a little bit bigger than Legends. Here with Hulk, it actually is not. Now, it's not fair to compare sizes when it comes to the figures. Like if I were to get the Thor Legends, it's not fair to compare them to the Mezco. What I will do is when the Thor Mezco figure comes out, then I'll compare them with this Hulk. And then at the time I'll do that, I'll have like all figures here so you can see kind of how they all look together. But here we kind of see that the Legends figure is a little bit taller, definitely a lot more wide. But does look good. Okay, so move him back. So here he is. Looking great. Now here, that head sculpt, he has a screaming head sculpt, and I'll get a closer look at that when we get to it. But first I want to go over the articulation that this guy has. And yes, it is limited. Now I know everyone is going to go into the comments and say, hey, Mezco's supposed to have a lot more articulation than that. I get it. I completely get it and understand. So here, let's take a look at what they did give us. So that elbow goes that shoulder goes almost straight out. You do get a full rotation there. It is a single jointed elbow. So there it is. And then articulated in, and you get less than 90 degrees. So that's unfortunate. So not a lot of movement there. Now these armor pieces, that's a little bit loose. So the wrist has the roll of the dice motion for the hinge, and you can get the full rotation on the hand from the wrist, so not bad there. One thing, this one has some protective plastic over the armor piece. I didn't even take that off. I'll remove that later. But you can see that this elbow, even with this shoulder piece, that elbow comes all the way up, but is hindered a little bit, and you're not going to get obviously the full rotation because of the shoulder pad there. So same articulation on this elbow. It is single joint, and you actually get less articulation because of the armor piece. So the lower forearm armor meets with the upper arm there, so that you're not going to get much more of a bend there. So that's a little unfortunate. Now another thing that I've seen lots of complaints about is there's no ab crunch. So that is disappointing, because then it really hinders how much articulation you're really going to get into this guy. Now one thing that Hasbro did that I thought was nice added touch, they painted on chest hair. This figure does not have painted on chest hair. However, throughout the entire figure, instead of the smooth plastic like all the other Legends are, it's actually a textured, it's actually textured to make it look like real skin. So I think that's a nice touch, and it looks like the hair may have been kind of sculpted in there, and you just kind of have to think that it's there, but there's no paint apps to it. So that's kind of unfortunate. It would have been pretty awesome to actually see that if Mezco would have gone that route to do it. But they didn't. So no ab crunch, but the upper body does, similar to like a diaphragm joint, where it's on there. So this is him standing up. You can move it back ever so slightly. I know that's not a whole lot. And then forward, you can get him to crunch down that much. Again, still limited there. And then he can turn side to side, so you got good motion in there, so that's pretty good, and it looks very natural the way it is, because this armor piece, his clothing, actually really hides how that would look when he's turned. So not too shabby there. As far as the hips, the legs go out very wide, so you get a good nice split action there. So I like that. Now let's see, kicking forward, you're only going to get that much. Not a whole lot of range of motion in there. Back, it's not really going out so much, so it's just really the side-to-side motion that you're going to get the majority of it. Very little forward. So a little disappointing there as well. And then the knees, there is only a single jointed knee, so you're going to get just less than 90 degrees. So not the best on the knee articulation either. So unfortunate. So the foot doesn't really hinge down so much. Hinges up a little bit, down a little bit, and there is a little bit of ankle pivot. Not a whole lot in there, because you could see the way they do it. That ankle joint sits down into the foot. You get full swivel, which is nice, but there is just a little bit of motion to give it that pivot, but not a strong pivot amount. So you can see that, you know, it's even hard to get him flat-footed like that. So it's tough. So yeah, he's limited in articulation, but there's some really good things about it. So let's get an up-close look and take a look at all the armor and the soft goods that Mezco is really known for. Okay, here's the close-up shots, so you can take a real close look at all the details that are in the armor and the figure. So awesome. First one, take a look at that head sculpt. That head sculpt is awesome, with the screaming head, the open mouth, really cool. He's even got the war paint on his face, so you know that the helmet is a separate piece that's glued onto the head. That helmet is not removable, but again, that's why we have the interchangeable head. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second, but we're going to take a close look at the head sculpt, the helmet, and just look at how awesome it is. It's got a texture to it, so it's not smooth at all. It is hard, unlike the Legends one where it was a softer rubber material because it was removable. This thing is looking absolutely awesome. It's got a nice bronze to it. It's got some scratches into it. Great detail there, and the paint apps are awesome on that. So to pop it off, to switch it out, you just pop it off. Easy. It's on a ball joint. Pop the other one on, and bam. There you have Hulk, and I think that looks amazing. This is actually the head that I'm going to keep on there to display the figure with, because I think this looks absolutely fantastic. Great head sculpt, very movie accurate, so I really like that. So moving on, we can see the shoulder pad is of a nice blue, bright blue metallic color. I did check it, back in Thor Ragnarok. The blue is definitely more accurate than the purple was from the movie. Well, I guess on the shoulder pad they did kind of use a little bit of a blue color. Now, one thing that was good about the Hasbro, it was really toned down, because in the movie it was very dirty and kind of war torn, whereas this is like very clean and new looking, like it hasn't seen battle. So that's just one little thing there. Going over the straps of the shoulder pad there, the details are awesome. The paint is fantastic. Even has the war paint right all on there, and it matches up perfectly. It's done with a nice feels like a rubber material, maybe even like a leathery type material, but this is the stuff that Mezco is really known for when we talk about the costumes and the soft goods and everything that's applied. The details are amazing in this, whereas Hasbro was just like some bronze color, you know, no detail into it. It was all smooth. You could see the how the leather is, so there's a nice wash over it. There's some purple lines in there, some gold, it looks like, for some metal pieces. It's done very nice. There's a lot of scratches in it, so that's where Mezco's really putting in the effort, and that's what you're really getting on the high-end premium cost for these figures, is because of that stuff. Just looks absolutely amazing. Look at this piece right over here as it comes under his arm. Thin pieces, but it all looks absolutely fantastic. The paint apps that they use on that are great. Really like it. Now we go to his left arm, and it's all fully armored. One thing that's different on this one, that is different from the Hasbro has the armor going all the way over his hand, whereas the Mezco does not. And I think this is a little bit more accurate compared to what I've seen, but it's done very nice. It's the same color as the helmet. It's got that metal look to it, that kind of old rustic look, and then it's got some spikes. Now the spikes are actually pretty pointy, so that's pretty nice. So good detail in there, along with the brown straps that go around. Nice wash to it to give it that real leather look to it. Oh, let me get that out of there. And you can see that the straps kind of move around. You can see here this blue strap. This is where some of the soft goods, because we haven't seen a whole lot of the soft goods yet, is this piece wrapped around his arm is all soft goods, and it's got a little design to it, which is kind of nice, and that can kind of move around. You want to kind of keep it high up there, and then this piece, you got to work it back up on there to keep it to stay in place. So not a bad touch. So all these armor pieces are all actually movable, not removable, but movable. They do move around, as well as the strap here on his wrist. That's a floating piece there that can be moved around. It's done in a nice blue. Same on the right wrist and forearm. This can be moved around. Good detail on the metal and the purple that they used, as well as the hands. So pretty awesome. So here I'll show you how to change out the hands. It's going to be pretty easy. You do want to be careful. Unlike the other Mezcos, these pegs are a decent size. You can see that you can remove this stuff. So if you want to change out the hands, you can do so there. Now, would be careful, because these weapons do not easily just kind of slip right into the hand. You really have to work the thumb to be able to do it. But once you do, and the fingers can kind of move around pretty easily actually, but you got to work it in there, and you can see you can hold the weapons nice and easily, so no problems there. I'll post some pictures on Instagram of him holding those weapons, and I'll have a link to my Instagram down in the video description below. So moving on, we look at the skirt piece. Now the skirt piece uses a lot of the soft goods as well. So you can see up underneath, he's got this brown, the typical soft goods material that we see with the other Mezco figures. But then you have like this leathery skirt piece that's onto it. So you, not only is that blue there, but these brown pieces that come hanging down. All done very nice with this leather type material. The back kind of has like a suede feel to it. But it's all done very nicely with this harder rubber strap that goes around, kind of holding it all in place. So even as you crunch it and you move the torso down, it doesn't hinder or get in the way at all. It all stays in place quite nicely. Okay, and then we'll look at the sandals. Great detail in the sandals, as you could see. Now, one thing the Legends one does is the sandals were actually kind of a separate piece over the feet. Here, these are all completely sculpted on as far as the foot, but on his legs, these are a separate piece on top of the legs. So that's great amount of detail and added accessories, and that's where all the cost of the figure is really going. But the details are very nice. You get browns and purples in there along with the metal color. So they did a very good job there. Now let's bring it. And there you guys have it. There is the Mezco 112 Collective Gladiator Hulk from Thor Ragnarok. Awesome figure. $125 is very high price, but I could see where the money is going into the details. So the posability is definitely lacking, yes. So for those that are really collecting Mezcos, I think you'll be happy with what they did with the added accessories and the outfit. But you won't like the posability. Those that collect and love MCU figures no matter what, this is a great piece definitely to add to your collection. Fantastic piece. I actually like it. It's going to keep me going with the MCU Mezco figures and stay in the line. But there it is. So if you guys have any questions, hit me down in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up if you guys liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, I'd like to thank you for watching.